Thanks very much, everybody, for joining me once again. Thought it'd be a good time to have a chat about the Champions Trophy, which has just recently concluded. Obviously, it was held in Pakistan and the UAE, and Pakistan didn't get the result that they wanted. I think expectations were quite low for Pakistan, weren't they? When we saw the squad, I think most fans, most observers of Pakistan cricket certainly did not expect Pakistan to be challenging the top teams. We've seen India dominate the tournament, undefeated. And yeah, people can say, oh, they had all their matches in Dubai, they didn't have to travel, this, that, and other. And, people can say that they were familiar with the conditions, the traveling distances were less compared to other teams. They didn't have to go from Pakistan and to the UAE. But this is the way it is. They were the best team, without doubt. And to me, in my opinion, I think whether they would have had to play in Pakistan, I know Wasim Akram has said this as well, whether they would have had to play in Pakistan, whether it was in Sri Lanka, whether it was in India, Bangladesh, anywhere in the world, this Indian team would have won that tournament. And I think anybody that's saying that they only won it because they played all the matches in Dubai is, talking a lot of nonsense. So why are India so good? Look, we know the players, they're battle hardened, they've got a lot of experience. They're players who play first class cricket, they play 50 over cricket, they play T20 cricket. The strength and depth is there. So you had the likes of Bumrah, not included in the squad, obviously due to injury. Rishabh Pant, he was nowhere to be seen as well. And if you look at the backup players, the players who didn't even make the squad, it's eye-opening, the strength and depth in Indian cricket. But why are they so good? When you look at their squad, their team, throughout this tournament, the roles were clearly defined. Each one of those players knew exactly what their role was. Yeah, from time to time, you have to change your game plan. From time to time, you have to, turn things around. From time to time, you have to go away from that plan that the captain and the coach have set for you. But more often than not, they stuck to their game plan and it absolutely worked fantastically well for them. As I say, the roles, their aims of each player, and how it all gelled and how it all fitted into the team combination, absolutely spot on, absolutely perfect. You've got to give praise to the captain, Rohit Sharma. Yeah, tactically, he might not be the best captain in the world out there. We've seen better captains than him. But what he does is he doesn't panic. I've never seen him panic. He knows his players. He knows his players' strengths and weaknesses. And again, down to planning, clearly defined roles. He knows the players' capabilities and he knows how to get the best out of those players. Cool, calm, doesn't get under pressure. Yeah, he tells his players off every now and then when it's needed. But you don't see him flap. You don't see him panic. Like some captains do. There'll be moments in a match where he'll think, "Whoa, that wasn't too good, was it?" But more often than not, as I say, he knows what his team's capabilities are and how to get the best out of those players. We talk about coaches. Obviously, Akib Javed is in the spotlight at the moment, and other coaches are. People are criticising Brendan McCullum. Me, I've always believed that coaching is overrated in international cricket. If, as a player, you have to rely on a coach to tell you how to play international cricket, how to get the best out of yourself in international cricket, then you've got a problem. If you've reached that top level of international cricket and you're constantly having to go to coaches for advice and how to work on technical, yeah, every now and then, every cricketer has to, or I'm having problems with this delivery, or a bowler who's struggling to some technical aspects. Yeah, he'll turn to your coaches and get a little bit of advice for them. But any cricketers who have to keep going to their coaches for help, for advice and guidance, they don't even deserve to be playing international cricket. And I think Gambhir was more of a mentor in that changing room. You've got the likes of Kohli and Rohit Sharma, battle-hardened, experienced cricketers. You've got the likes of Pandya, who are obviously leaders in that dressing room. You don't need a big coach. You don't need somebody who's going to tell these players how to play. They know how to play the game. They've been playing cricket for donkey's years. I could sit as the Indian coach and they still would have won the Champions Trophy because as a coach, these players are too good. They don't rely on coaching. They don't need coaching. They don't need guidance all the time. They don't need their hand holding. And that is a sign of top cricketers. Yeah, UAE matches all for India. But, let's be honest about it. As I said at the start of this video, they could have played the matches anywhere in the world, and this Indian team would have won it. It shows just what a big gap there is between India in white ball cricket and the rest of the world, and that gap is widening. So I think it's time for some of these other nations to step up and start challenging India and look at what they are doing, because what those countries are doing is nowhere near as good as in what India is doing. I mean, looking at their actual team, the combination in this Champions Trophy recently concluded. You look at the batters. Yeah, you've got the likes of Rohit Sharma there who are there to enforce the strike rate, hit boundaries at the top of the order, and then you've got the classical batters like your KL Rahuls, your Virat Kohlis, and these guys, and then you've got the likes of Iyer who can alternate between being big hitter and play the anchor role or the steady role, the finisher role. So the flexibility in that batting lineup is great. I mean, you've got Shubman Gill as well, who's obviously a classic, correct batter who has played a lot of first-class cricket. So, if you can, I think it was Mohammad Yusuf who once said to me that if you can play well in Test cricket, you'll be a good white ball cricketer. And this is what these guys do. They emphasise their red ball cricket and then work on the white ball. In Pakistan, yeah, I want to play white ball cricket. I want to play PSL. Doesn't matter about a Qaid Azam Trophy. Yeah, that's where the money is. Totally different in India. The emphasis is on red ball cricket. You play red ball cricket, you do well in red ball cricket, as Nasser Hussain said straight after the final between India and New Zealand. These guys focus on their Ranji Trophy. They focus on first-class cricket. They encourage their players. They make their players play first-class cricket ahead of playing T20 leagues. And that's why they are excellent cricketers, whether they be batters or bowlers, because technically they are good. If you can play cricket well technically with either bat or ball or even behind the stumps, then T20 and one-day cricket is not necessarily a cakewalk for you, but you can improve those skills if you've got the basics right. And you look at the bowling combination as well. Yeah, I mean, this Indian bowling lineup wasn't earth-shattering. It wasn't like the greatest bowling lineup you'll ever see in the world. But what they did was clear, defined plans. More often than not, you knew who was going to be opening the bowling. You knew who was going to be, bowling those middle overs. You knew when Kuldeep Yadav would be coming on. You knew when the leg spinner would be on. And they got the better out of they got the best out of their bowlers because of the game plans, the fact that they knew exactly what the team plan was and what the captain's expectations of them were. And it's just a wonderful combination of bowlers. As I say, not earth-shattering bowlers. They were missing some good bowlers, but they did their jobs. And none of them got 10 out of 10 tournaments, but all these bowlers were 7, 8, 9 out of 10. And they all fulfilled the roles that were expected of them. Stability, Indian cricket. Stability in Pakistan cricket is a word that you just forget about it. There is no stability in Pakistan cricket. Comings, going, sackings here, there, everywhere. Wo aaya, wo gaya, this selector's here, that selector's gone, captains changing, chairman changing. Stability, forget that word in Pakistan cricket. In Indian cricket, stability is the key. The stability is the backbone of Indian cricket because this first-class structure, the players, the selectors, the BCCI officials, the chair, these are people who stay in their roles for a long, long time. They prefer not to change things. Yeah, they have to change every now and then when it's required, but only as a last resort. The players, the selections, people know what their role is. People know years in advance that they're going to be picked for X tournament. And, looking at the planning for ICC tournaments, 23 out of the last 24 matches, ICC matches, India has won. World Cup, T20 World Cup, Champions Trophy. Incredible. Only one defeat, and that was against Australia, at home. Obviously, a big final that was, and they lost that, which was a hammer blow for them. But as I say, ICC tournaments. Why do they do so well in ICC tournaments? Because they plan for these tournaments years in advance. They identify players who are going to be playing in those tournaments. They stick with them. They back them. हमारे पाकिस्तान में यार Irfan Khan Niazi was playing for the last 6 months, 9 months, ready for the Champions Trophy career. Sufyan Mukim came in, did well. And then what happens is they drop both of them and bring Kushbil Shah, Fahim Ashraf, and those guys in at the last minute who've been nowhere near the 50 over format for Pakistan. Suddenly they're brought in at the last minute. You can't blame the players. What are they going to do? Absolute, rubbish policy from Pakistan Cricket PCB and the brains trust at Pakistan Cricket Board, because there is no planning, there's no thinking ahead, there's no stability. Whereas it's the complete opposite in Indian cricket, and that is why they are successful. First class cricket, I said it before, that has to be the priority. A strong first class cricket will make better players, higher quality players, players who are mentally tough, players who are of the caliber that you want playing for your country, whether that be in red ball or white ball cricket. You have a strong first class structure, a rigid first class structure, a stable first class structure, you will produce top quality cricketers. If your bloody emphasis is on the PSL, and picking players who do well at the PSL for your test team and your one day team, stupid, absolutely ridiculous, backward thinking, wrong way around mentality. And the other thing about the Indian team is, हमारे पाकिस्तान में they're relying on Babar Azam, Fakhar Zaman, Shaheen, अच्छे टूर्नामेंट खेलेंगे तो we might reach the semi-finals. Putting all your bloody eggs in one basket. These Indian players, as I said before, they've got such strength and depth that they could have two teams at the Champions Trophy and they'd be challenging for the semi-finals at least. And the thing is, with these Indian teams, they don't rely on one or two players. Virat Kohli, after the final, what did he say? When he was stood there with his arm around Shubman Gill, he said, Shubman Gill and these guys are the future. When we retire, we make sure that players are there. Indian cricket is in good hands. Going forward, these are the guys that are going to take the team forward. So they have the next generation of players ready to step up. It always used to be the case with Australia, and it still is to a certain point. But with India now, you remove those top players. If Rohit retires, if Virat Kohli retires from 50 over cricket, they will have players coming in who can step up and replace those guys. Might take a year or two for them to get used to it, to reach their optimum levels in international cricket. But those guys, mark my words, they will be ready for international cricket. And this is the way to do it. You plan for the future. You have stability. You don't keep relying on one or two players. The Indian team, as I said, Virat Kohli said that they performed across the board. The spinners in some matches, Mohammad Shami did well in some matches. Pandya did well in some matches. The batters, some matches, Rohit Sharma, Virat did well. Shubman Gill, KL Rahul was the backbone in that middle order finisher role. So, Shreyas Iyer did well. So, you across the board, they had players who performed. They were not relying on one or two or three players to fluke their way to the semi-finals. They had all 11 players performing, and the players that they bring in, they perform as well. The leg spinner, Varun Chakrabarti came in, they brought him in, and he performed straight away because he was ready. He was battle-hardened for international cricket. I mean, the Pakistan cricket model compared to the Indian cricket model, it's like, a different, there's the moon and there's the earth. Massive difference. There's so much the Pakistan cricket can learn from the Indian cricket model. And, I've mentioned a few buzzwords there like stability, continuity, planning for the future, robust first-class structure, and having selectors who know what they're doing, who are going out there watching these players, not just looking at the stats and thinking, oh yeah, look at his average, he's averaging 70 in first class cricket. Look at the bloody pitches that they're playing on. There might be feather beds that they're playing on. A guy who's averaging 40 in first class cricket might be double the player who's averaging 70 in first class cricket. So don't just rely on stats. And, planning for the future, that's another key that Pakistan cricket is missing. Leaders, have proper captains who can get the best out of players. Don't just keep chopping and changing, and coaches as well. You've had 3 or 4 wonderful coaches in the last 2-3 years who you've got rid of. You're getting rid of these you bring these top level coaches in, offer them a lot of money, and then a few months later you're showing them the door. And what do you expect? The new guy to come in and perform miracles? As I say, it's a lesson for Pakistan cricket, and how India is developing their players and moving further and further forward in the world of cricket should be a real eye opener for Pakistan and other nations. And one can only hope that Pakistan and the Pakistan Cricket Board and the Pakistan think tank actually learn from what India is doing at the moment. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care.